Hey everyone, it's Bree. Welcome back to my channel. I'm back with another reaction video, and I'm going to be reacting to one of my favorite YouTube channels of all time, Jubilee. Jubilee does amazing work. Okay, Jubilee is a channel, and they spark a lot of great conversations, and they have different like shows and things like that they do. Wow, I just realized my window is not all the way over, so I'm gonna fix this as I'm talking. But yeah, like I love Jubilee because they really discuss a lot of, like, sometimes it's like fun topics and other topics are a little bit more serious, like this one. Hold on. So this one is do all Biden voters think the same? I really want to react to this video because I'm so sick and tired of the political division in this country, and I'm tired of people thinking that just because you identify with one thing that, like, people, I hate when people think that everybody of like the same like category or whatever, they all think the same and they all have the same ideas. Like, that's just not true. But I'm saying like all black people think the same, and they do those type of videos on this channel, like, do all black people think the same, do all teen moms think the same. Like, they take these people who have these labels and they put them together and they try to figure out, like, you know, if they all think the same. And as the case as it is with every single video, they don't all think the same. So I really want to put this video out just to kind of show people that you can, you know, vote for somebody or you can affiliate with a certain party, but that doesn't mean that you agree with everything that those people, you know, think. And I'm sure I'm gonna get trolls on this video because, you know, there are a ton of people out there who are searching for, you know, Democrats, and which I don't know if I consider myself to be a Democrat. I don't want to really identify with either political party, if I'm honest. But I know there's going to be people out there looking for content like this just so they can leave a hate comment. Save it. But yeah, for those of you who like to read the comments and stuff, just be aware of some of the nastiness that people say under these types of videos. But yeah, I'm curious to see what they're going to say, so let's watch.
That the legislation was passed definitively in the interest of putting more black people in jail. That's what it did, but I don't think
really curious to see what they're gonna say.
Legislating like, hell yeah, f these black people for sure, you know.
With the election upon us, millions of Americans are gearing up to cast their vote for the next president of the United States. While some people will be voting independent, we wanted to hear from Trump voters.
If you voted for Kanye, I don't know what to say.
Why they are voting for their candidate. In Spectrum, we bring everyday people together for authentic discussions that represent what's happening now. These discussions should not be anyone's sole source forming opinions.
And I love it. Y'all have to check out this channel.
Do your own research, seek out experts, push yourself outside your bubble.
Do your own research.
Thanks for watching.
So this must have been recorded before the election.
My name is Christine, and I am 23 years old, and I live in Houston, Texas. I think that the overall civic health of America is just so low, and I feel like the more we have these kind of conversations, the more people will start to think for themselves.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Piper. I'm passionate about decolonization, systemic equality, socialism, and environmentalism.
My name is Pranav Kanduri. I'm currently a freshman at the University of Texas at Austin.
You see that Zoom University hoodie?
Lifetime. It's going to determine the future of our country in civil rights, human rights, the climate, and many other issues across the board.
My name is Leah Thomas, and I'm an environmental activist and the founder of the Intersectional Environmentalist platform.
My name is Chris. I currently live in Santa Barbara, California. I think that
a lot of people from
for Joe
California
Biden in this election is a vote with the idea of prosperity for all in mind.
Hi, I'm Benjamin. I work at the Democratic Coordinated Campaign, and I help lead
Maryland.
Asian Americans for Biden. We cannot afford to be anything less than passionate as we fight to protect our families, our friends, our communities, and our futures.
I'm more anti-Trump than pro-Biden. Piper?
Strongly agree.
Leah?
Strongly agree.
Pranav?
Strongly agree.
Benjamin?
Somewhat disagree.
Chris?
Okay.
Strongly agree.
Christine?
Agree.
Okay, so before they get into it, so am I more, I mean, yeah. I'm not even gonna cap. Yeah, and that's the thing that I'm so sick and tired of people saying is the reason why, like, if you voted for Biden is because you're a diehard Biden supporter and you think that Biden is just gonna fix the world. No, it's literally for most. I can't speak for everybody. I'm sure there are diehard Biden fans out there, but I am not one of them. And what the thing that it comes down to is, people have described this election as choosing between the lesser of two evils. Now, I don't know if I would go as far as to say Biden is evil. You can have whatever opinion you want of Biden. I'm not going to go back and forth. Y'all can leave whatever comments you want. I'm not going back and forth about that because the election is over. I voted for who I voted for, and that's it. But I say all that to say, most people voted for Biden because he's not as bad as Trump. Like, why would you vote for somebody that you think is, like, you're going to vote for the person that isn't the worst? And for a lot of people, and at least I know for me, the people that I wanted to be the president, they didn't make it. They didn't make it to the main ticket. And so I had to go with the options that we had. And to be completely honest with you, I didn't even choose Biden because he's a Democrat. I chose him because he has the qualities of a president. He's done this. He's been the vice president. He kind of knows, what to do and stuff. And he's also not a horrible human being. And he also knows how to conduct himself in public. And so there's a lot of, people have different reasons for why they choose people. But for this election, I can understand why people are so, upset and defensive because people just aren't happy with our choices. But this is what we're left with. And I'm hoping that in the upcoming elections in the future that we have better choices. So
as much as
it is what it is.
Absolutely hate Trump, there has to be especially young people, there needs to be that energy there for Biden. I know settle for Biden is huge. We'll take him because it's too choices.
Yeah, people are settling.
Literally a choice between destruction of the environment and our futures or building towards better progress. We have to be more enthusiastic and we have to bring other people along because otherwise, we're not going to win.
Definitely agree with what you just said, Benjamin, but at the same time, I can't deny, Joe Biden himself does not make me respond enthusiastically. I volunteered for the candidate I supported in the primary. It was the first time I'd ever done it, and it was because I was driven. I feel like I needed to.
Yeah.
At the same time, I think I would vote for a Democratic ticket if it was literally any other Democratic candidate.
I understand the enthusiasm,
True.
Benjamin, and I think the reason why, I didn't vote. I voted for Warren in the primary. I was very involved with the campaign, and
I loved Elizabeth Warren.
But I think the supporting cast is so important. Like you said, I'm voting for a better future, and I don't think that Biden encompasses that entirely. I think that the entire
not entirely, and we can admit that
Benjamin
Biden is not the best
I've
person out
read a bit
there.
about why Hillary Clinton lost in 2016, and a lot of it was because she ran on a very anti-Trump campaign. Because Hillary Clinton was a very hated woman. A lot of people just don't like her. I have my reasons for not liking her as well. And her whole campaign was just beat Trump, beat Trump, beat Trump.
They
a lot of people that
be
wasn't enough
dragging
for them to
Hillary
get
Clinton through the
excited
mud,
online.
man. Still.
And so you kind of made me rethink it a little bit. But I think also though, we can't get too excited about him now because we have to still make sure that there's room for criticism so we can hold him accountable once he actually gets elected.
Joe Biden is too old to be
Okay, you can't even. First of all, Trump and Biden are old. Okay, they are elderly. They are 70 plus. Okay, all these presidents are super old. So I think that we could benefit from someone that's a little bit younger, not too young, but somebody that's a little bit younger. I think you have to be at least 45 to be the president, if I'm not mistaken. It's either 35 or 45. I think it's 45 for president. But yeah, I do worry about that. Cause Joe is up there, and I'm listen, I don't know. I mean, but Bernie's still out there. He's still out there, going to little conventions and stuff like that. So listen, if Biden, if not Biden, if Bernie, if Bernie can still be, you know, active and out there, then, you know, maybe Joe can too. I don't know.
President. Piper.
Yeah, I disagree, but
Leah.
he's up there.
Pranav.
Disagree.
Benjamin.
Strongly disagree.
Chris.
Disagree.
Christine.
Disagree.
Let's say like all hell did break loose, and like Joe Biden is now like just suddenly just becomes like cognitively incapable of doing the job.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris, she's a beast.
That's what I'm
So
saying. Yeah.
I mean, what the vice president's for.
Right.
We'll be
I
alright.
think the only person who could really say like strongly agree is like a Pete voter. I mean, the person I voted for in the primary was also like 70 plus. So
His age kind of also fits with his demeanor or like his appeal. He is more like a grandfather figure of the like entire party. That age comes with a lot of experience, and like
That's
I think
true.
right now we need to return to some sort of normalcy.
Mm-hmm.
I also really hate when people pick at his stutter that he's had for like his whole life that is incredibly ableist. Yeah, the candidate that I was supporting.
Yeah, I didn't like, real quick, I didn't like that. I really didn't like the fact that people were getting on him for his stutter. Like that doesn't mean anything.
So it's fine.
This ring here. Is
Of course
worth
there's an
$1 million.
advertisement.
And you're probably thinking, well, it's made out
Go
of
ahead and
gold
skip
or
that.
platinum, or it's
I believe abortion is a human
It's a
right.
human right.
Piper.
Strongly agree.
I mean,
Leah.
Agree.
yeah.
Pranav.
Strongly agree.
Benjamin.
Strongly agree.
Chris.
strongly agree.
Christine.
Agree.
Okay, so people are gonna have strong opinions about this too. When it comes to abortion, I feel like it doesn't matter what I think or you think. It's literally dependent on that person. Who am I to tell somebody else? Who am I to tell the lady down the street or whatever? Like, who am I to tell anybody that's not me what to do with their bodies? Regardless of whether or not you agree or disagree, does not matter. And I hate that these laws and stuff are being passed by people who aren't affected. Men are usually the ones making the decisions on abortion. And it's like, you will never ever have to get an abortion in your life. Now, yes, if you have a child with somebody, or if you get somebody pregnant and then they want to abort the baby, does that affect you? Yes. Should that be a conversation? Yes. But it's ultimately the woman's choice, because it's her body. She's the one that has to be pregnant for 9 months. She's the one that has to push the baby out. And there's so many different circumstances in which people get pregnant. And yes, most of the time when people get pregnant, it is to the fault of the person, but things do happen. You guys will be surprised how many ways people can get pregnant, even on, you know, birth control and even with condoms. People still get pregnant from using contraception. So I don't understand why people have such strong opinions and want to dictate what other people do with their bodies. It's their choice. If you don't want to do that, then don't do it.
I feel like there's a separation of church and state, and people just keep forgetting that. I don't know why. And then also, I don't think anyone likes abortion, and that choice is one that is incredibly traumatic and hard for, I'm sure, a lot of people. And I just really don't like when people are like, well, no abortions, no sex education, no free contraception, no nothing. And it's like, there's so many other things that would actually help decrease the amount of abortions that are had if we could get better sex education in school, easier access to contraception and healthcare.
The word abortion is not in the Bible. Step one. Step two, I'm not having an abortion. Like, I would never do that if I'm in a situation, and that's what I believe, but that's not my job to enforce that on other people.
Thank you. Thank you,
like
Christine.
Sex education, or why not putting forth some type of like grant or something if people decide not to abort? Why not improving the foster care system? I mean, they're not giving us any other options. So you want me to have the baby, but you're not going to give me anything to support it. You're not going to improve minimum wage, and you're not going to do anything in my neighborhood to make this safe for my child. So
thank you, Christine. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Christine. This is why I reacted to this video, because people got so many opinions. People got so many opinions on the internet. People got so many people want to tell other people what to do, and they want to complain and have all these issues, but don't want to offer up any solutions ever. So I'm so glad she said that.
What's next? First off, I don't believe
Come
that
on,
life
man.
starts at conception. I do not believe that constitutionally it makes sense for a fully grown woman to be constitutionally on the same level as a cluster of cells, and that they should give out, like, they should have to, like, sacrifice, like, the right to their bodily autonomy. The second thing is also, I kind of compare it to, like, prostitution. Like, it's going to happen to some extent regardless, and making it legal and, like, having there be, like, institutions and, like, infrastructure for it to be, like, safe and affordable is a lot better, regardless of whether or not someone thinks that an abortion is good. You at least want, like,
I wouldn't make that
I think
comparison.
one of the biggest reasons to vote for Joe Biden is because Trump has selected a Supreme Court nominee who, like, is devout at overturning Roe v. Wade. If you support autonomy, I think you have to vote for Joe Biden.
Joe Biden has a racist past.
People have been saying
Piper.
this a lot.
I said agree.
Leah,
Somewhat disagree.
Pranav,
somewhat disagree.
Benjamin,
Somewhat disagree.
Chris,
Somewhat disagree.
Christine.
Somewhat disagree.
Okay, so you see, no one says strongly disagree. So the thing with Joe Biden, and again, I haven't dug that deep into Joe Biden's past. I just keep hearing about the 94 crime bill that people have been talking about. That's been like the most like racist thing that I've have heard about. So I'm interested to see like what other points, especially Piper. I'm interested to see what she's gonna say.
I think this just goes back to, like, what do we define as racism? But just looking at his policies, which are kind of the only thing we can...
Because racism is systemic.
...go off of, like, the 1994 crime bill, like, it almost exclusively targeted Black Americans.
Yeah.
I know, like, he also, in the Obama administration, they had a lot of mass deportations, war crimes in the Middle East, and all these things put together. Like, I can't determine, like, his individual, like, opinions, but all I can go off of is his policies, and he just has a pretty racist history.
I don't believe that Joe Biden, the person as an individual, is a racist man.
Yeah, I don't
but I
think
do
so.
Think, like,
Why
has
would
had
he be
a history of
Barack
not
Obama's
making choices that
VP
were the most
then?
equitable? But I also think some of those choices were a result of like the cultural zeitgeist at the time. And I don't think that Joe Biden necessarily should be held to account for like the worst parts of that legislation, because I don't think that the legislation was passed definitively in the interest of putting more Black people in jail. That's what it did because of the way everything was structured at the time. Like, more Black people went to jail, but I don't think Joe Biden was sitting in a room legislating like, hell yeah, fuck these Black people for sure, you know?
Even if, which I don't believe to be the case at all, even if he had like some ball of hatred in his heart against like communities of color, it's political suicide for him not to help communities of color.
As someone who has worked in the Biden
Yeah.
campaign, like, he has plans to help, like, African American communities.
He
has
seems to have
help, like,
plans.
Asian American and Pacific Islander.
We'll see if
They're,
he
like,
actually,
on his website.
you know,
like, they're part of the
implements those
platform.
plans.
We have like the power to hold him to it and say, like, we elected you to do these things. Like, these are the things you promised us that you would do, and now we expect you, because we voted for you, like, we expect you to follow through on those promises.
If you want to sell online,
At least I can
make
skip
sure
all
you
these ads.
stand out. Go to Wix.
Police department should be defunded. Piper,
Strongly agree.
Leah,
Strongly agree.
Pranav,
Somewhat agree.
Okay.
Benjamin,
Somewhat agree.
Okay.
Chris,
Agree.
and Christine.
Somewhat disagree.
Okay. So the whole defund the police thing, this is a whole nother video in itself, and so I'm not gonna go too much deep into it with the whole defund the police thing. But basically, the whole defund police thing is not abolishing police, and that's where a lot of people have been getting it confused. A lot of people think that by saying defund the police, that we're saying get rid of the police. And that's not what we're saying. We're just saying take some of the money from the police departments and put it into other like organizations and other programs that could better help the community other than just the police. The biggest example that people have been using is mental health. If you have someone that's dealing with a mental health crisis, most police officers are not trained in that area and they don't know how to properly assess those situations. So why not take some of the money from the police force create a program where you hire mental health professionals that are designated to, certain cities or certain areas or whatever, and they'll be the ones to get that call to go and help those people. That's really what the whole defund the police thing is. Now, there are people out there who want to abolish the police, and I'm not going to pretend like those people don't exist, but most of the people who are seriously talking about defunding the police, they are talking about taking some of those funds and putting it into other programs that could be more beneficial, because the police, they can't do everything and they aren't trained in every single area. So something like mental health, you could bring on people that are professionals in that area. And if you guys could see the police budgets in some of these cities like New York, it's insane. It's so insane.
I feel like there's not, like, if we were to defund the police now, there's not structures in place to reallocate that funding efficiently.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like in order to defund the police, we need to fund other things first, and then we can just, like, build a pipeline so that there's money to go into wherever we think is best. Like, I just worry that, like, if we were to defund the police now, it would just, like, get thrown back into the government, and then it would just, like, go somewhere else useless.
Yeah.
So I say somewhat disagree, because, like, in Houston, I'm a part of, like, the Mayor Student Leadership Alliance, and something we've talked about with the mayor of Houston is that he doesn't feel like the police should be defunded, but he feels like the money that's in the police system right now should go towards bringing other people into the system to actually handle the issues that police are getting called for that have nothing to do with police, right?
Okay.
Homelessness, mental health issues. And so, like, when I did a lot of, like, research and looking at what other Democratic candidates feel like, a lot of those people don't feel like there needs to be a defunding of the police, but more so a reform of the police structure and how they facilitate the issues. So I don't think that defunding the police will lead to better policing.
I think for me, after the aftermath of Ferguson, like, which impacted my hometown, I just started having some questions, like, why do they need tanks? Why do they need these grenades? Why are they...
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of the money that when people are looking at some of these police stations, there are actually some police stations that aren't funded in the same way as others. It just really depends on the area, the city, and, like, the crime rate. But there are some police stations out there that have been given resources or given something they just don't need, like tanks. You don't need a tank as a police officer. That's just too much.
At war with us, and that to me just made me take a step back with some of the equipment and resources that they have from the military. And Christine, I 100% agree. And
Christine
I think
is on
when
it.
I support defunding the police, I support dismantling the police, which is very different from abolishing the police. Even though people like to spin it as that. And to me, there's already been enough police reform, especially since 2014. We've got the cameras, we've got trainings, but like there needs to be some sort of dismantling or restructuring or something, because whatever is happening is not working. But of course, I would never say get rid of the police, but I definitely don't think that they need to have tanks, especially if they're not doing implicit bias training.
I think defund the police, like, has such a bad connotation to it because it does sound
She's
like
in her
this
dorm
abrupt,
room. I
like,
can
take
tell.
away all their money. But you can't fit a whole public policy plan into one slogan. I think some of the, like, top, like, brains in policy writing that support defunding the police don't support just taking away all their funding and doing nothing with it. And I think, honestly, if you reallocate the funds well enough, we won't even need police at all eventually. Because why do police exist? Because people are committing crimes. Why does crime exist? Because of poverty, because of, all these other reasons. So I think, obviously not all at once. But
I don't know about that. I mean, she does have a point. I do think that if there were better programs in place, at least for, like, kids or people who, come from certain, like, situations, I do think maybe it could lead to a decrease in crime. But you still have, like, crazy people who just go around murdering people for no reason. And I don't think there's any type of, like, program or anything that's gonna, like, stop them from... I don't know. I don't know, but I think that there are certain crimes that require the police. So that's why I don't believe in abolishing the police, because there are those cases. Like, if someone robs a bank, you need the police for that.
if we gradually reallocate those funds into other resources, we could get rid of a lot of the things that even require the need for police, and maybe still have some law enforcement that exists, but it will not be as big of a thing as it is now.
I think
agree
that
with
is a
that.
very good point that one, a lot of these terms have like really strong connotations, right? So like when Leah said dismantle, I was like, Jesus, like, but like not even really like understanding the perception of dismantle that she had. And so I think I really strongly agree that like when we say defund the police, where does that money go, right? Because in my head, when I hear defund the police, I don't think that the police force is then going to take away their ability to buy tanks and all these different things. I immediately think that they're going to pay cops less. Right, and that's what I think a lot of people think. Because what does
that's the thing too. I understand it from that perspective. Like you, especially as a police officer, and you're seeing all this stuff on the news about people wanting to defund the police, and I can understand as a police officer being like, well, I don't want my livelihood to be changed because of everything that's been going on. So I understand the concern about maybe a decrease in salary because that can affect a lot of people. And so I do understand it. I think it just really this boils down to having a conversation and having a plan.
On me. And so this is what concerns me because like this is anyone, right? You get underpaid for something that you're really good at and you're like, excuse me. So I think that's a really good conversation to have.
Yeah, you don't want to make less than you've been making your entire life in a career that you've been in and that you love. So I don't know.
That's right. TurboTax Free Edition is free. Free.
I am open to conservative ideas.
What kind of conservative ideas? I feel like I would be.
Disagree.
Leah.
Agree.
Pranav.
Somewhat agree.
Yes, somewhat agree.
Agree.
Chris.
Somewhat disagree.
Christine.
Strongly agree.
Because like I said, I don't want to really identify as like a whole Democrat or I mean I know for a fact I wouldn't be a Republican, but I don't necessarily agree with everything the Democrats do either, which is why I think that even though it probably won't happen anytime soon, but I do wish like the third parties, the independent parties, I do wish that they had a little bit more like push, a little bit more impact in the political system, because I do think we need some fresh ideas. Like everything doesn't have to be so on one side. Like there's nothing wrong with having like a mix. Because like I don't know, I just think that it would be better that way, so that way we can come up with the best solutions for everybody instead of just trying to benefit one side and screwing over the other side.
There are some conservative ideals that I do respect, right? Like I think that a lot of what this boils down to is not the issue itself, but the implementation of the issue. Like I went to go look at the gun laws that, the Democrat primary candidates are looking at. A lot of candidates are saying that we should ban assault rifles, and then most of them said that they're not going to buy them back. And I'm like, okay, so we didn't prohibit this before. Some people spent X amount of dollars on this assault rifle, and you're not at least going to buy it back from them. Another thing I think about is like the social welfare programs, right? Do I think more people should be eligible for it? Yes. Is there any measure on a lot of these programs that get people off of the system integrated back into the workforce? No. So you have people who specifically take advantage of the system and specifically take advantage of us as taxpayers.
I think in life I'm just generally invested in just giving more. Food, land, crops, like money, whatever it is, there is plenty in the United States. We have the infrastructure.
I've been saying the same thing, and I know there's gonna be people that disagree with me, which is fine. But because I'm such a giving person, I have that same mindset. I'm like, there is too much out here for anybody in America to be struggling. And I know that, again, life isn't supposed to be fair. Everybody can't live in luxury. But I just feel like there's too many resources out here for so many people to be struggling, so many people to be unemployed. Like I just don't get it. Like you have people that are so rich that they have so much money that even if they were to buy everything in the world that they want, even if they were to go buy 5 islands, they still have a ton of money left over that they don't even know what to do with. Why not take some of that money and help people that are in need? I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but people make the argument of, oh, well, it's their money, you can't tell them what to do with it. Yeah, but then when they're gone, what are you going to do with the money then? you're not going to donate it. You're just going to give it back to the government. So I don't know. I just think that there's too much out here for folks to be struggling the way that they are.
To support everyone in this country, like significantly more than we do currently. Warren's wealth tax is something that I was really, really in favor of, and it's not something that those people are going to miss. Like, it's not like I'm like you're taking their livelihood from them. You're simply repurposing a part of their livelihood that they're honestly probably never going to get the opportunity to use in the first place, and making it so that other people can be at least a slingshot closer. So in that respect, I think like conservative ideology tends to be stingier, if you will.
What America needs to do more is to compare itself to other countries and like entities that have similar wealth. Like in my political science class, like we're comparing the United States to the European Union. Countries in the EU at large like provide so many more social services to their people, and their people are so much happier, and the wealth gap in America is so much greater than it is there. I'm always willing to hear.
It's crazy because like the older I get, the more I start to look at America differently, and the more I start to look at other countries. Like when I see like the way that other countries like support their people, even Canada. Like Canada, I heard that Canada was giving people the $2,000 stimulus checks. Like they've been getting that the whole time in 2020. I've seen countries who come up with ways to do free healthcare and stuff like that. And I know there's always costs and benefits to everything, but it does kind of make you look at other countries like, you know what, I could give up this for this. Like I could give up freedom of speech for free healthcare. Like I can keep my mouth shut. Like I don't know. Like it's just like it's just crazy. It's crazy.
What the other side has to say, but like I'm pretty well versed in politics at this point, and like I know that like I honestly don't really agree with any conservative ideals.
I think for me there can be like a lot of unlikely allies, but I think it depends on what the outcome is of that conservative thinking, like whether or not I might be opening to listening to it. So like if they're like, okay, I really want to stimulate the economy, we need more jobs, and then the how is through green jobs and green infrastructure, like that's something that could definitely have bipartisan support. Like I'm talking with a church that is really passionate and really wants to take a bold stance on climate. And if I would have just kind of shut them out because they do have some conservative ideologies, then I feel like, maybe we wouldn't be able to, I guess, progress. I don't want my ego to get so big where I think that the only way to be is like me, but that doesn't justify policies that lead to the oppression of other people. That's another situation, but I can have empathy for them.
I believe Joe Biden will win this election.
Somewhat agree.
Let's see. We know.
Somewhat agree.
I agree, but this is me knocking on wood.
Somewhat agree.
Strongly agree.
Agree.
I'm not willing to let the universe think that I believe anything different, and I'm not willing to even let the words from my mouth escape to encourage any kind of taking away from that outcome. When I get super down in the dumps, I go on Twitter to @Trump_regrets and just see posts from people who are like, I can't believe I voted for you in 2016. I'm voting for Biden now. And I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, just to see like how many people have defected, and to even see the people who hold themselves accountable in person, like looking now, they're like, hey, I thought maybe something different would be by switching it up and not sending a politician in office in 2016. I am so sorry.
It makes me hopeful that like in the same way like a ton of people have defected from Trump, I literally do not see the opposite at all. Like I don't see anyone like who's like previously like Democrat and he's like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna vote for Trump. Like no one is saying
I didn't see that at
very,
all.
very, very happy.
I mean, I put somewhat agree because like it depends. Like it depends on us doing the work behind the scenes to like make that shit happen. Like elections aren't won because like people get complacent.
Yep.
And so like I don't want people to think for a day between now and November 3rd that like we can take our foot off the pedal. Like, people are like, oh, Biden is up 15 points nationally. And I'm like, yeah, Hillary was up like 5 points nationally. And what did that do for her? Like, we have to just keep working to make this shit happen. It's just going to be a fight, like, literally every single day from now until Election Day.
That was great, you guys.
That was wonderful. I love that. That was a great discussion. Yeah, just like he said, and Biden did win because people actually went out and voted. People were not playing this election. And you saw how close it was. Like, if there was any doubt that your vote didn't matter previous to this election, it definitely mattered. So much so that they're still trying to doubt your vote, and they're trying to downplay the impact of the American people who voted for him. But no, I mean, like he said, like, we understood what was at stake here, and people were able to actually get it together, get to the polls, stay in line, vote early. And I think that a lot of that definitely contributed to Biden winning the presidential the presidency. He won. He won president. So yeah, this was a great discussion. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. I'm sure you guys were probably commenting as you were watching the video. I completely understand. It was super long, and I didn't mean to keep pausing, but I just had so much to say. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys give it a big thumbs up, and please check out Jubilee. They have great videos. I want to definitely keep reacting to them in the future. There are a few videos that I've already seen, so in case you're wondering why I haven't reacted to certain videos from them, just because I've seen it already and I don't want to fake my reaction. So yeah, make sure you guys subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in the next video.